I'm very excited about my next guest. I love real girls that have a real God story and that take what Jesus says seriously and act on it, especially when everything seems impossible. And that is what Chris Ziebach did when she got before the Lord and really started chewing on the things that he had shown her. Now, it has been a week of dreams, and so it's kind of interesting that this calling and passion was birthed through a dream. So, welcome.
Thank
welcome
you.
to Come Home.
What a treat to
You're
be
adorable.
here. Thank
you. Are
you.
so, you're adorable.
You are too.
Oh, yeah. Okay. God's good, right? Okay, so let's talk about Camille Place and CamillePlace.com. You need to go there and help support the vision and pray. But how was it birthed? Tell us the history, because that's really important to the miracle of where we are now.
Right. So going back, just sort of my faith journey, I grew up in a great home. And later in life had gone through a divorce and was really in a bad place. You know, angry with God for not answering prayers to restore our marriage. And so we were divorced. It was spring break. I was with my girls at the beach. And young girls, you know, they bounce from a hot tub to a pool, you know, back and forth. And so I was really minding my own business at this point in my life. But I was reading a book called Kisses from Katie. And she's a missionary from Brentwood, Tennessee in Africa. And that's really spiritually all I was doing is reading her book.
Okay.
And all of a sudden the power of God just came over me. And I knew at that moment forward my life was going to look different and be different. And it was. And at that point, I really just wanted to marinate with Jesus day in and day out and pray. And I got back and of course I asked his forgiveness for being so angry at him. But just got back just with being in his presence. And some days it would be until it was time to pick my kids up from school that I would change out of pajamas into regular clothes.
So he just gave you this sweet little bubble of where you could just be with him.
Yes.
All day.
All
every
day.
Oh.
Had a prayer partner, so I began to pray off past trauma, hurt, pain, rejection. Boy, was there rejection. And ungodly vows, soul ties, all of these things, I just began to pray with a prayer partner, and I began to feel different. I remember, this is so bad to say, but I do remember there was one time that I hit my knee on the dishwasher, and an ugly word just didn't come out anymore. You know, not that I was that bad of a person.
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
So it just shifted, like the inside of me shifted, and where there had just been, where I felt like I was in a pit, I felt joy. And so I began to worship and finding different songs, different artists that would just bring me to the throne room. And at that point, I started having very vivid dreams at night that were like going on vacation. And I actually remember one night thinking, I can't wait to go to bed tonight because of the dreams that I would have.
Yeah.
And I knew that God was speaking, and I wanted to honor that. So I began to journal and date and write them down and just ask the Lord, what does this mean? And some of them I would get an answer to a definition, and some I would not. And fast forward 2 years later, on a Thursday night is when I had my first nightmare. Oh. And that dream, my daughter was kidnapped and trafficked. And in the dream, thank the good Lord that I didn't experience what she was, how she had been tormented. I just knew that she was being trafficked out of our country. 2 nights later, I woke my husband up screaming. I was in the dream, but yet it was a vision, so I could see down below. I was being dragged into the woods by a man and a woman. And I didn't tell anybody. Of course, I prayed into them, especially one with my child, and didn't hear anything from the Lord, but just continued to pray. Of course, that was the Thursday, then a Sunday. On the following Monday, I was in a gift shop, and a lady from Texas that I did not know came in. She's precious. We began to run our mouths, talking, chit-chatting, and she, and long story short, says, I hear the Lord saying, you're going to open a home for girls rescued from human trafficking. And I thought, lady,
Jesus.
you're precious, but this is not my calling. This is not for me. Like, I'm not equipped or qualified. My degree is in early childhood. I could teach, but this is not in the scope of how I'm equipped. And she left the store. And she came back 15 minutes later with a wall plaque. And she said, the Lord highlighted this for one of your homes. And I looked at her and I said, that's plural. What do you mean, homes? Like, that, you know, now we're really getting crazy here. And she said, yes, here's a name and number of someone you're to call when it gets to that point. Oh. And so I, at this point, dreamed night after night of me being a victim of human trafficking, where I was set on fire, where I was drugged and knew that I just had seconds before I would be out of it and I needed to get help. I've counseled the perpetrator. I've thrown things out of a car window to try to signal for help. I've been shipped in a shipping container. I've been presented to a group of 7 strung out men. I've been on the run where all I knew how to do was run, because even when I was in a safe spot. So, of course, I documented all of these as well, but I knew God was speaking, and I didn't think it was for me to do anything. So I called other homes wanting to help fundraise or do something for them, because I had this passion now on the inside, but the door just kept being shut, and no one would invite me to come and help do, like, clean a toilet. I'm ready to do whatever, and nothing. And so that just started that passion inside that would not stop.
So he was not going to let you hook your wagon up to someone else's. He had spoken through a woman of God. He had marinated you, and then when the dreams shifted, he let you experience the things that these children go through, so that you could relate and understand what he was calling you to do.
Right.
Give you empathy and insight.
Right.
I'm so happy that you didn't dig your heels in and say no, but that you just said, okay, here we go, right? God asked us to do crazy things.
Yeah. It took a while, though, before I could say yes. A friend invited me to the Human Trafficking Summit in Montgomery, Alabama, and I went there, and I learned what takes place not just in our state but all over our country, of the interstates being major thoroughfares where children are being sold on a circuit from city to city. That the younger they are, the more money that is made off of them. That they're branded and tattooed, they're muffled, they're silenced, they're gang raped. They are literally tortured. And I left there thinking, God, somebody has to do something. I still was not there. I still was not ready. And a few months after that, I finally submitted. And I said, okay, Lord, because the dreams continued. Yeah. And after I submitted, the dreams slowly subsided, where I didn't have them anymore. But it just took me saying yes